Have you ever stopped to think that the cross hung on the wall of your home is silent, but deeply influencing your family's fate and the spiritual flow of your home? It may seem like a surprising or even difficult idea, but this is exactly the message that Father Pio, one of the most renowned saints of the Catholic Church and known for his unique spiritual gifts, shared with his followers throughout his life. Father Pio revealed a deep and virtually unknown teaching on the crucifix, a secret that remains hidden for most faithful, but has the power to radically transform the way you relate to this sacred symbol. He said the crucifix may be the key to unlocking blessings, spiritual protection, and the peace that his home needs so much, or, if used incorrectly, may prevent these graces from flowing to you and their loved ones. Therefore, understanding and correctly applying this knowledge is not just an act of faith, but an essential step towards the spiritual harmony of your life. Millions of people have a crucifix at home, but how many really know that this sacred object is not just a decorative piece, not a simple religious tradition without practical meaning? Father Pio taught that crucifix is like a spiritual light. If not connected, if not activated in the right way, it does not fulfill its purpose. For him, many families live under the shadow of negative influences because they have the crucifix hanging passively, without consecration, without an active spiritual relationship that allows this divine protection and grace to actually manifest. Even more serious is the fact that some people unknowingly end up attracting the opposite of what they want, why they are unaware of how to truly connect with the power of the crucifix. Padre Pio was emphatic in saying, "The crucifix speaks, but few know how to hear him." This simple phrase in appearance carries a meaning world, as it indicates that this sacred symbol has a spiritual language that can be understood by those who are willing to learn and open to this divine connection. One aspect that few know is that there is a specific moment of the day when the power of the crucifix intensifies, and that, at that moment, a simple prayer before him can break invisible barriers that block his life for years. This knowledge is not common, but it has been passed to a few who had direct contact with Padre Pio. The way you position crucifix in your home is equally important. There are strategic places that amplify your protective force, while in others, it can become just a decorative object without any spiritual power. If you have never been guided about it, you may be missing the opportunity to turn your home into a true sanctuary of peace, protection, and prosperity. Father Pio was not just a man of faith, but a spiritual visionary who realized how the power of the crucifix could be wasted when ignored or treated with neglect. During his life, he accompanied many families facing persistent difficulties, financial problems, conflicts that seemed unresolved, inexplicable diseases, and even disturbing spiritual manifestations. In investigating these situations, he always found a common point. These families had the crucifix, but kept it inactive without consecration and correct positioning. For him, an inactive crucifix was like a shield that was not erected, leaving the house vulnerable to negative influences and making room for disharmony and suffering. Its mission was to teach that when used with true faith, the crucifix can transform the environment, protect the family, and open doors to miracles. Imagine your home as a spiritual fortress. The crucifix, when consecrated and placed in the right place, acts as an invisible shield that repels everything that is negative and maintains the balance of peace and spiritual health. Father Pio always said that the crucifix is a bridge between heaven and earth, and that this bridge only becomes functional when crossed with faith, prayer, and intention. Having a crucifix at home, for him, was not enough. It was necessary to learn to activate him, so that he could fulfill his role as spiritual guardian. This telephone analogy is perfect. The object can be the same, but without connection, it does not fulfill its function. With the consecration and correct use, the crucifix becomes a direct line for divine graces, a living protection channel and blessings for the whole family. One of the most impactful stories Padre Pio told, it happened in 1947, when a family hit by a series of tragedies sought him in search of help. They had lost a child in an accident, another was sick, and the family business faced a collapse. As he asked about the crucifix at the house, they found that he was stored inside a forgotten drawer. Father Pio taught to consecrate that crucifix and guided the family to put him at the gateway where he could fulfill his spiritual function. 6 months later, her son's health was restored, the business successfully reopened, and peace returned to the house. This experience was not isolated. Countless other families have undergone similar transformations when they followed the saint's teachings over the crucifix. What exactly Padre Pio taught? For him, the power of the crucifix is not in the object itself, but in the faith with which it is used and the spiritual connection that is established. He identified 3 essential pillars for the crucifix to fulfill its protector role: consecration, strategic positioning, and intentional use. Consecration consists of spiritually dedicating the crucifix, transforming it from a simple object into a living channel of the presence of Christ. Strategic positioning involves placing the crucifix at the points of the house where its protection will be most effective. And intentional use is the daily practice of interacting with it through prayer and conscious attention, maintaining its power active. A common mistake Padre Pio warned is that many people hang the crucifix and then simply ignore it, as if it were any frame. He said that crucifix is like a flame that needs to be regularly fed with faith and prayer, otherwise its power decreases. Leaving the forgotten or dusty crucifix for him was a sign of spiritual abandonment that can even attract negative energies to the environment. The physical care of the crucifix is an act of devotion, as important as spiritual care. In addition, crucifix positioning plays a crucial role to activate its power. The most important place, according to Padre Pio, is the main door of the house, because there the crucifix acts as a guardian, filtering the energies that enter the home. It also recommended that crucifixes be placed in the rooms, especially in the couple's room and children, because during sleep our spiritual vulnerability increases, and the crucifix acts as a shield that drives away the darkness. Another strategic point is the common space of the house where the family meets, because there the crucifix helps to strengthen family ties, bring peace, and sanctify relationships. Crucifix is also a constant reminder of Christ's love and sacrifice, a symbol that can promote physical and emotional healing. Father Pio taught that the crucifix should be handled with reverence, cleanly clean, and its renewed consecration in times of crisis, as a way to readjust this spiritual antenna to continue transmitting divine protection. In times of greater spiritual disturbance, he indicated to hold the crucifix near the heart and recite specific prayers, which brought immediate relief and inner peace. This is just the beginning of what Padre Pio taught us about the true strength of the crucifix. Then I will detail the recommended prayers, the moments of the day when this connection is more powerful, and how to incorporate this ritual simply into your routine so that you and your family can enjoy effective and constant spiritual protection. Now that we have understood the importance of crucifix consecration and correct positioning in your home, we will delve into daily practice to maintain this spiritual power always active and present in your life. Father Pio taught that the crucifix should be lived, not only displayed. It is necessary to establish a continuous and conscious bond with this sacred symbol, and for that, it indicated 3 moments of the ideal day for this connection, moments that have a very special spiritual meaning and that can transform the energy of your home, the strength of your faith, and the protection you and your family receive. The first moment is soon upon waking. Waking up and looking at the crucifix in your room, even before thinking about daily worries, is a simple but powerful gesture. When awakening, the soul is more receptive, clean from the concerns of the night, ready to receive the graces of the new day. Father Pio taught that starting the day with a prayer before the crucifix is a way of aligning his soul with the divine will, placing under spiritual protection all the activities and challenges that will come. He suggested that by getting up, you sign the cross and offer your day to God, trusting that each step will be guided and protected. This simple habit is an invisible shield that prepares your heart for spiritual and daily battles. The second moment is considered by Father Pio the most powerful, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the exact moment Jesus expired on the cross, giving his life to our salvation. For him, this time has an unmatched spiritual power, capable of breaking the barriers that separate us from divine grace. Father Pio recommended that at this moment you stop your activities for a moment and turn to the crucifix, whether physical or mental, and recite a deep prayer, asking for mercy and intercession for your life, your family, and around the world. He indicated the prayer, "For your painful passion, has mercy on me and all over the world," repeated 3 times. This little gesture, performed with faith and at the exact moment, has the power to undo spiritual nodes, free negative energies, and attract extraordinary thanks to your life. It is an invitation to dive into the mystery of the cross and realize that, even in the face of difficulties, mercy and divine love are always present. The third moment happens before bed. Father Pio said that sleep is an hour of great spiritual vulnerability, when body and mind turn off the physical world and our soul is more open to spiritual influences. Therefore, he recommended that before lying, you look at the crucifix in his room and had a brief examination of conscience, thanking for the blessings received, asking forgiveness for the failed faults, and surrendering to divine protection for a quiet and restorative night. This night ritual not only purifies the spiritual environment, but also strengthens your faith and creates a protective barrier to ward off all negativity as you rest. In addition to these moments of prayer and connection, Padre Pio stressed the importance of the physical and spiritual care of the crucifix. He taught that the symbol should be treated with the same reverence and attention we give to something sacred, cleaning it weekly with a clean cloth, preferably using holy water, to keep your energy always alive and vibrant. This care is not merely ritual, but an act of devotion that reinforces the spiritual bond and keeps the crucifix as an open channel for divine grace. When the house goes through difficult situations such as serious illness, intense conflicts, or visits from people with disturbing energies, Padre Pio recommended the renewal of crucifix consecration. This simple act is able to reactivate its protective power, purify the environment, and ensure that blessings continue to flow freely. It is also important to remember that crucifix is not a magical amulet, and its power is not in the physical piece, but in the living faith and the spiritual connection you set with it. Padre Pio said that the crucifix is a bridge between heaven and earth, and that for this bridge to work, it is necessary to cross it with sincere faith and pure intention. He advised to hold the crucifix near the heart, especially in times of anguish or spiritual disturbance, and recite prayers that strengthen the soul, bringing peace and immediate comfort. The practice is simple, but the impact is deep because it reconnects the faithful to the loving presence of Christ, which acts through that sign. For families with children, Padre Pio had a special affection and a teaching that deserves to be highlighted. He encouraged parents to teach their children how to respect and worship the crucifix from a young age. He said that children are very sensitive to the spirit world, and that a nightly blessing made by their parents, holding the crucifix and making the sign of the cross on the forehead of the little ones, creates an invisible protective shield that accompanies them in sleep and in life. This simple practice helps to cultivate faith and strengthen the family environment by preparing children to face spiritual and land challenges more safely and serenity. Couples can also benefit greatly from the power of the crucifix in their relationships. Father Pio taught that in times of crisis or distance, husband and wife must meet before the crucifix, hold hands and renew their marriage vows, asking for the grace of love and unity. He stressed that true love involves sacrifice, and that crucifix is a constant reminder of this sacred commitment. This ritual can renew harmony in the relationship, open spaces for forgiveness, and strengthen family life under divine protection. Understanding and applying these daily practices may seem a challenge in a world full of distractions and agitations, but Father Pio always reinforced that the greatest spiritual treasures are in simple things done with deep faith. The power of the crucifix is not reserved for a few, but is accessible to all who wish to open their hearts to the grace of God. To incorporate these practices into your routine is to take a decisive step in turning your home into a true sanctuary, where Christ's presence is tangibly felt and where blessings flow with abundance. At this point, if you are feeling that this message has touched your heart, I want to invite you to do something special. Write in the comments a phrase that symbolizes your intention to activate the power of the crucifix in your home. It can be simple, such as "my home protected by the cross," or a phrase that reflects your deepest desire for peace and protection. Not only will this help to manifest your faith, but also create a positive chain among all watching this video, forming a community of faith and mutual support. His participation is valuable and helps to strengthen this collective spiritual purpose. You already know the essentials to connect with crucifix and how to perform the correct consecration and positioning. We will further deepen the teachings of Padre Pio, revealing practices and attitudes that strengthen spiritual protection and transform your home into a true refuge of peace and harmony. The energy that emanates from the crucifix does not act in isolation. It is enhanced as faith becomes a living part of everyday life, and this requires commitment, spiritual discipline, and an open heart to the divine. Father Pio taught that crucifix consecration is not a unique and punctual act, but a continuous process. Just as we renew important commitments in life, consecration also needs to be revived, especially after events that shake family balance, such as illness, emotional crises, intense conflicts, or visits from people with heavy energy. At these times, renewing consecration is like calibrating an antenna that transmits divine light, ensuring that the spiritual shield is always active, strong, and efficient. Do not let the time or challenges smooth the faith you have deposited in this sacred symbol. Renewal is an act of love and respect that keeps the connection open and clean, ready to radiate blessings and protection. Another fundamental point highlighted by Padre Pio is the inner attitude towards the crucifix. The symbol only exerts its fullness of power when welcomed with humility and sincere faith. It is not enough to have the exposed crucifix. It is necessary to invite Christ to reign in his home and in his life, cultivating a daily relationship of dialogue and delivery before it is essential. This surrender manifests itself in spontaneous prayer, respectful silence, deep reflection, and in the search to live according to the teachings of the gospel. The crucifix, for Father Pio, is the visible manifestation of the sacrificial love of Jesus, which calls us to participate in this same mission of love and redemption. By embracing this truth, you transform the energy of your home and the dynamics of your relationships. Padre Pio also emphasized that the crucifix plays a vital role in emotional and spiritual healing. We often carry hurts, fears, and blocks that create an invisible barrier between us and inner peace. He taught that holding the crucifix with his hands and bringing him closer to the heart, while reciting the prayer, "Jesus, I trust in you," is a simple gesture that opens channels for healing and restoration. This practice can be done whenever you feel anguish, anxiety, or need for comfort. Crucifix acts as a constant reminder of the love that surrounds us and strengthens us even in the most difficult times. Active faith in this symbol is a balm for the tired soul. For homes with children, Padre Pio's teachings gain a special dimension. He knew the sensitivity of the little ones to the spirit world and recommended that parents cultivate the habit of respecting and honoring the crucifix from an early age. In addition to the night blessing, he indicated that children were encouraged to say small prayers in the face of the crucifix, learning to ask for protection and to cultivate faith with simplicity and purity. This spiritual education strengthens the family as a whole, creating an environment where peace and protection flow naturally and prepares children for a life full of faith and hope. Another precious teaching is the care of the energy of the environment. Padre Pio noted that the presence of the crucifix, when combined with a clean, organized, and full of love environment, enhances his protective action. Therefore, he recommended that, in addition to the physical cleaning of the crucifix, the whole house was treated with love and respect, avoiding discussions, gossip, and any attitude that can generate tension or negativity. Home harmony is fertile ground for divine graces to flourish. The practice of forgiveness, patience, and compassion among family members are like fertilizers that strengthen this spiritual seed that crucifix represents. Padre Pio also spoke of the importance of uniting the family in prayer before the crucifix. Meet periodically, even for a few minutes, to pray together strengthens the ties and creates a collective spiritual shield. This practice, in addition to connecting hearts, reinforces the divine presence in all aspects of family life, helping to overcome conflicts and difficulties with more serenity and faith. The crucifix, placed in a visible place in the environment of coexistence, becomes the center of this spiritual communion. Amid so many teachings, we must not forget the warning that Padre Pio made about the danger of neglect. A forgotten, dusty crucifix, or just a decorative object, can symbolize the absence of living faith in the home, creating a kind of spiritual vacuum that can be occupied by negative energies. He warned that it is necessary to keep the crucifix always active, clean and consecrated, so that its protective energy function fully. To neglect this connection is to open doors to difficulties that could be avoided with a simple gesture of faith and care. By integrating these teachings into your routine, you create an environment where divine presence is a palpable and constant reality. The crucifix is no longer just a symbol on the wall and becomes a living link, a continuous source of strength, hope, and protection for your life and for your family. From then on, you can see positive changes not only in the physical environment, but also in relationships, health, mental peace, and spiritual prosperity. And now, I want to enjoy this moment to invite you to subscribe to the channel, if you haven't done it yet. Here we seek to bring deep but affordable teachings that can transform your spiritual life and the environment of your home. We would really like you to be part of this community of faith where we can grow together, share experiences, and learn from each other. Also, I want to ask you for a special thing. Share in the comments some experience or feeling you had when listening to the power of the crucifix. It can be a doubt, a story of faith, or even what you hope to achieve with this knowledge. Your participation is what makes this space alive and welcoming to all of us. We come to the most special moment of this journey of faith, understanding how the power of the crucifix can directly influence every aspect of your life and turn your home into a true spiritual refuge. Padre Pio, with his wisdom and incomparable sensitivity, revealed that the crucifix is not just an admired symbol, but an active channel that, when used correctly, may be the key to victory over the invisible battles we all face. He taught that the crucifix acts as a true spiritual armor, capable of neutralizing negative energies, opening paths, and attracting blessings of ways that often go beyond our understanding. What makes the crucifix so special is its deep meaning. It represents the supreme sacrifice of Christ's love, victory over death, the constant invitation to hope and renewal. For Padre Pio, having this living awareness in your heart and practicing faith through the crucifix means being connected to this infinite source of grace. And this connection manifests itself not only in times of prayer, but in all attitudes of everyday life, the way you treat yourself, your family, and even the challenges that arise on the way. The active crucifix in your home is a presence that inspires courage, patience, and the certainty that you are never alone. Padre Pio stressed that crucifix is also a powerful instrument for reconciliation and strengthening family ties. In times of conflict, when tensions threaten the harmony of home, gathering before the crucifix and renewing faith is an act that can restore peace and open spaces for forgiveness and understanding. He advised husband and wife before the cross to reaffirm his commitment and ask for the grace of true love, a love, giving love, and that is sustained by the divine force. This simple but meaningful ritual can transform relationships and return hope where it seemed lost. For children, crucifix is an invisible shield that protects them from spiritual dangers and strengthens faith since childhood. Padre Pio believed that the little ones, being so sensitive, need a constant connection with this sacred symbol, and that the daily blessing with crucifix creates a safe environment so that they can grow in peace, love, and protection. This practice helps to form a solid spiritual basis that will accompany the child throughout life, giving him strength to face challenges and cultivate true faith. Care with crucifix, as we have seen, goes beyond physical cleaning. It is an act of reverence that keeps the flame of faith alive in your home. Father Pio said that we must take care of this symbol how we would take care of the heart of a loved one, for he is a tangible manifestation of Christ's presence with us. This attention transforms the crucifix of a mere object into a true channel of blessings and protection. And whenever you feel that the house or family face difficult times, renews consecration with faith, cleaning not only the crucifix, but also the hearts they trust in it. Now you have a precious and powerful knowledge in your hands. What to decide to do with him can forever change his spiritual walk and the fate of his family. Father Pio has left us a legacy of deep love, faith, and teachings that, when put into practice, have the power to bring peace, health, prosperity, and protection to their home. The cross in your home can no longer be a passive symbol to becoming the active force that guides, protects, and transforms. Before closing, I want to make a very special invitation. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel to be part of a community that values genuine spiritual growth and the sincere exchange of experiences. Here, you are always welcome to share your stories, your questions, and what you have learned from each video. Tell us in the comments how the crucifix has influenced your life or what you expect to find out when applying these teachings. Your voice is important for this chain of faith to be more and more strengthened. Finally, I deeply thank you for your attention and allow this message to reach you. May the power of the crucifix, activated with faith and love, turn your home into a true refuge of light and peace. And remember, you are never alone on this walk, for the divine presence is always by your side, guiding your steps and illuminating your way.